Well, hello everyone, Texy88 here and welcome to another board game related video. And now we're taking a look at the expansion Aliens We're in the Pipe 5x5, published by Gales Force 9 in a licensing agreement with 20th Century Studios. This is an expansion for a game that I've discussed previously. The core game being Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core, which was released 3 years earlier in 2020. Now, it does actually say this is an expansion. However, unlike the other expansions, which simply required a copy of Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core, to truly get the most out of this expansion, which is actually explained both in the rulebook and on the underside of the box, to get the very most out of it, you will need both Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core and the expansion called Aliens Get Away From Her, You Bitch. If you haven't got the latter, then the only thing you can realistically use this for is because there are 2 additional Marines that can be added to your squad. We'll more about them in a moment, so let's open the box. So what we have here, this is actually a board used in one of the missions from what I can make out, and it's the dropship that the Marines have. And the other is a set of tunnels, which is used in one of the tweaked versions of a mission in this expansion, if you wish to use it, or if you even can, because both of those require Get Away From Her to be in use. So if you're only using the core game, you definitely won't be able to make use of that. And here are 2 tweaked versions of the campaign mission. This particular mission would replace the APC chase that's in Get Away From Her, and it adds the dropship element with Spunkmeyer and Ferro being the where their starting positions are, and the fact that there's a blip which will represent at least 1 alien. And as usual, there are things explaining what things are and where they go on the map. And on the reverse side are the special rules regarding this particular mission, including how to implement the dropship aspect, which was not in the version of the chase mission that's in Get Away From Her. And here's the other tweaked mission, the Survive mission, which is one in which in the top left corner you see the letters N and R, which are Newt and Ripley's starting points respectively. And as you can see, there are a couple of facehuggers in the room with her. So if you've seen the 1986 Aliens film, you'll know exactly which part of the story this mission's based upon. And it also implements the tunnels side of that floor tile that's introduced in this expansion, and some other bits and bobs that are also in this expansion. You'll see those shortly. And again, you get the special rules about it and how the air ducts work and so forth, and there are some special rules depending on who may or may not be present. Here's the rulebook. Aliens We're in the Pipe 5x5. As with the other ones, it's got an overview of the components and what's new. And including some other little bits and bobs. and the new alien variants that are in this particular expansion. Some of them are faster, one is slower, but they are absolutely more dangerous than the standard xenomorphs that you get in the core game. And this was just something that helped me to assemble the models. As with the other aspects of the board game, I had to assemble the models in this just like I had to assemble the models in those. So you'll need a craft knife and some glue that's capable of gluing plastic. So here's the model for Pharaoh, who's one of the new models in this expansion. And you can see it says Pharaoh on her base, so you know which one she is. And here's Spunkmeyer. As with the other, what was in the other boxes for this board game, it's the level of detail is up to the usual standards. So as with those, all the models were made in Poland. And here we have the 4 different alien variants. Here's the Skulker. Oh, Butterfingers. And if you look on the base, you can actually see it says Skulker. So if you can't remember exactly what they look like, then the bases of these special variations say what they are. But this one's in such a unique pose, it's extremely unlikely you're going to confuse that for the others. Here's the Brute. I have to admit, when I was assembling this one, the main problem with this one was gluing the tail and trying to get it to stay in place, but I did eventually get there. Fantastic level of detail on it. And again, it says Brute on the base, so it's clear which one that is. Here's the Guard. I mean, admittedly, when I looked at the illustration on the base of the box and how the instructions were telling me to glue the tail, the tail was sort of whipping over to the left, but I decided to have it going over like that simply because I just believed it was less likely to get in the way of other models on the board if I did it the way I've done it here. It doesn't really ruin the effect any, and it still says it's a Guard on the base, just like the other special versions of the Xenomorphs do. And last but not least, here's the Scout. Absolutely fantastic level of detail on these models, and the way that the parts just fit together seamlessly. I was just so impressed. And these are some additional Hive Mind alien cards. If you remember, I pointed out the alien Hive Mind cards when I looked at the Get Away From Her expansion in my video that's specifically about that expansion. So this just adds to that, and that was an optional mode which I believed allowed an actual player to control the aliens. Here are some leveling up cards which again are optional, but it allows for that. We've now got potentially 2 additional characters that may or may not be used in the fire team. Here's some new new tokens, 2 more tunnel tokens, 10 blip tokens, some specifically lettered entrance and exit tokens. As you saw on those 2 mission maps, we actually saw the entrance and exit tokens on one of the maps in that, specifically the replacement level 3, which added the tunnels. And on the reverse side, got those and some other exit markers. And as you see, 6 of the blip tokens just work like normal ones, whereas there are 4 blip tokens which are actually for one of the new variants that I've just shown you. And according to what I briefly looked at in the instructions, each one of those special xenomorph variants only appears once. So if a Marine player does manage to defeat a variant, then the blip token does not go back in with the rest of them. It stays away from them and isn't used again, which is good, because you wouldn't want to repeatedly have them attacking, coming back on later missions. Now this is a sprue that I've kept simply because Pharaoh's head, when I assembled it, was separate, and there was actually a second variation for her head that I could have used, in which she doesn't wear a helmet. So I've kept this just for that. I didn't like the idea of having just the head loose. That would be very easily get lost. There was also the alien variants pieces, one black sprues, a black sprue. That's not visible in this video, as I decided to reduce the amount of space and potentially reduce damage to the alien variant models. And last but not least, we have these 2 character profile cards for Colette Ferro and Daniel Spunkmeyer. As with the other ones which we've seen in the previous videos, you've got a side for whenever the character is under direct control of a player, and the grunt side. Other than that, they work exactly the same as for the others. So that is a rundown of the contents of the expansion Aliens We're in the Pipe 5x5. At the time of recording this video, which was 25th of November 2025, I've never actually played the game in any capacity using this, so I don't actually know what it's like. But I'm hoping to get to try it out at some point. And especially with those additional bits in the two missions that are slightly different to the ones in Get Away From Her. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to catch you on another video soon. Texie88 out.